Uh, Good morning, students. Welcome back to the lecture series on analysis of indeterminate structures. That is 18 CV 52. We are in Module 5, lecture number 45. Presentation by Girish Chalagiri, Department of Civil Engineering, KLS VDIT, Halaya. In the last class, we have studied about the analysis of continuous beam by stiffness matrix method, where we have seen number of continuous beam, regular beams with loading conditions. Second one problem, a regular beam with the movements at the ends were given. We solved that also. And the third problem in the last class, we have solved the continuous beam with both ends fixed. And we have seen that there is no external loads given on the members, but there was a settlement in the supports. So we have analyzed the continuous beam with the settlement in the supports without having any external loads. That is a new type we have solved, and we came to know that. And today we are going to analyze the same continuous beam without settlement in the supports, but this question was given in the previous question papers, where after analysis we need to draw shear force diagram as well as bending moment diagram. So we are solving the question paper in order to make the students that they can able or they can feel that they can also analyze the question papers. So let us come to a question paper here. So here is the question. Analyze the continuous beam shown in the figure by stiffness matrix method. Draw shear force diagram and bending moment diagram. This question was asked in December-January 2020 question papers. It was 16 marks bit. And here is the question. We can see the diagram here. A continuous beam ABC is given, where A and D is fixed and other two members B and C are being in roller supports. And we can see there is a moment of 30 kilonewtons in a clockwise direction at B joint. In the same fashion, there is an anti-clockwise moment given as a 40 kilonewton in the C points. And first member AB is subjected with a UDL of 24 kilonewton per meter for the entire span. The span between AB is 8 meters, while the span between BC is 4 meters. And the modulus of rigidity for member AB is 2 times the I, and that of for BC is only I. And make sure, guys, when we find the value of P here, usually we will find the degree of freedom, we will assign the coordinates, and we need to find the displacement at that coordinate points. And P value is something which is given a load pattern or displacement at that point in external ways. Here we can see there are moments at B and C where 30 is in clockwise and 40 is in anti-clockwise. Make sure that should be taken in account while analyzing the P value. So let us first find the first step, that is a degree of freedom, or we call it as a kinematic indeterminacy. As we have studied in the previous last 3 classes, we came to know that when we analyze the beam by stiffness, we need to kinematic indeterminacy. A simple way we made is to find the rotations. So each joint will have a rotations here. So here number of rotations are been unknowns here. So rotations A, B, C are 3 joints and 3 rotations. Since A is a fixed end, obviously there will be no rotations. Since it is a fixed end, only left with the B and C, which are having a rotations. So the degree of kinematic indeterminacy is 2 numbers, that is at rotation at B and rotation at C. So let us assign the coordinate numbers as rotation 1 at B point and rotation 2 as the second coordinate at C joint. So we can see in the diagram here we have shown the first coordinate assigned is rotation 1, that is at B joint, and similarly the second coordinate assigned at C joint as a rotation in 2. So A is a fixed end, we doesn't get any rotations here. So assigning 1 and 2 coordinates, next what happens? The third step we are coming is to find the fixed end moments. So to find the fixed end moments, what we do? We assume individual beams are being fixed end. For the given external loads, we need to calculate the fixed end moments. So here A, B, C, we are assuming all ends are fixed end individually and subject to the external loads. For that we are going to find the fixed end moments. So here is a AB is a 8 meter span, BC is a 4 meter span. Our external load is of 24 kilonewton meter is applied only in between AB. For that we are going to find the fixed end moment. So the fixed end moment at A joint for member AB, that is MF AB equals to WL square by 12 is the fixed end moment due to UDL for the fixed beams. Since it is taken as minus WL square by 12 because it acts as an anti-clockwise as A joint, so substituting value of W and L here, W equals to 24 kilonewtons per meter into 8 is the span between that 8 square divided by 12. So the fixed end moments at A joint for member AB we are getting is minus 128 kilonewton meter. Similarly, when we consider the same member AB with a B joint as a moments, we can see a fixed end moment at B joint for member BA will be plus 128 kilonewton meter because the formula will be same, that is WL square by 12. So these are the moments we have got at A and B joint for member AB, while in between BC there is no external loads given in between this. Therefore the fixed end moment at B joint for member BC as well as the fixed end moment at C joint for member BC will be 0. Now we need to calculate the value of P and PL. So P value, as I told, P when we take, we need to know the moment at C joint and moment at B joint, because the first coordinate we have selected is B and second coordinate we have selected as C. Is there any moments given in at B and C joint, so the displacement should be known? Yeah, in first questions only we can see there is a load of 30 kilonewton in a clockwise direction given at B joint. In the similar fashion we can see there is a 40 kilonewton meter is in anti-clockwise direction given at C joint. So while writing this P value, make sure that take the value of plus and minus here. So we can see at B and at C. At B it is taken as 30 plus because it is clockwise, and similarly at C it is minus 40 because it is anti-clockwise. This is taken into consideration. So P value we get is 30 minus 40. Similarly, coming to the next one, calculation of PL. So PL, as we know, is nothing but finding the summation of fixed end moments at the coordinate points. So which are the coordinate points here? B and C. So find the summation of fixed end moments at B and find the summation of fixed end moments at C. So at B, we know that there are two moments member connecting at a B joint, that is BA and BC. So MFBA plus MFBC, that is summation of moments at a B joint. Similarly, summation of moment at C joint will be MFCB. So MFBA plus MFBC means MFBA we have plus 128 kilonewton meters, while MFBC is 0. Similarly, MFCB is also 0. So PL value we can see in the bracket that it is 128 at B and 0 at C. So this is what we have got the value of P and PL from the fixed end moments what we have calculated for the above given value. Next we need to apply the stiffness equation, that is K into delta is equal to P minus PL. Yes, in the above step we found the P value and PL value, and similarly delta is nothing but displacements at coordinate first and second, that is theta B and theta C, which are unknowns here. Only the thing we should get is a matrix form of K value, stiffness at individual displacement point due to individual rotation applied at for displacement joints. So to know that a matrix method of K value, we are going to apply unit rotation at a B joint. So here you can see the diagram. A continuous beam ABC is given. We are applying a unit rotation at a B joint, that is theta equals to 1 at a B joint. So due to application of this rotation at B joint, we can see the rotations in the members BA and BC as shown in the diagram. So the stiffness matrix at first coordinate joint K11 we take at a first coordinate joint and K21 at a second coordinate joint. What this K11 indicates? K11 indicates the stiffness of first coordinate joint due to unit rotation applied at first coordinate joint. So K11 equals to we know that it is rotation at B joint. So rotation at B means there are two members connected, BA and BC. So stiffness of member BA plus stiffness of member BC. So stiffness of member BA means they substitute the value, that is 2 EI divided by LBA bracket of 2 theta B plus theta A, plus the stiffness of BC will be 2 EI by LBC, distance between BC, bracket of 2 theta B plus theta C. As we know in the earlier steps, rotation is applied at B joint. So the remaining rotations which are alive, that is A and C, will be 0 directly, because since rotation is applied at B joint, only B will be active here. Remaining all rotations should be taken as 0. So other than B, theta A and theta C is taken as 0. Substitute the value of B, these two as 0. Substituting value of I here, what we get? The first BA will be 2E into 2I divided by 8, span between BA, into 2, that is theta B, plus 2EI divided by 4 into 2. So we know that 2 into 2 into 2, that is 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 2, 8, 8 by 8 will be 1 EI. Similarly, for the second member BC, 2 into 2, 4, 4 by 4, it will be 1 EI. So 1 plus 1, the total will be 2 EI. The stiffness at K11, that is first coordinate joint, due to unit rotation applied at first joint. Similarly, due to application of first rotation at A joint, B joint, the rotation at C will be calculated in this form, that is K21. K21 means member connected with second joint is only CB. So KCB equals to 2 EI divided by LCB, 2 theta C plus theta B. We know that this is rotation is created due to the unit rotation applied at B joint. So only theta B will be active. Other than this, the remaining will be 0. So theta C is taken as 0 here. So 2 EI divided by 4 into 1 B. So 2 by 4, it will be 0.5 EI as the stiffness of second coordinate joint due to unit load applied at the first joint. So K21 equals to 0.5 EI. Next step is to apply a unit rotation at C joint. You are applying a unit rotation at C joint. So you can see the continuous beam here, ABC, where rotation is theta is equal to 1 applied at C joint. Due to this single rotation applied at C joint, we can see the deflection in member only CB, while B joint and A will not have any rotations. Any movement is taken place in the beam. So the rotation factors, that is stiffness factors at first coordinate joint will be K12, that is rotation at first coordinate joint due to unit load applied at second joint, plus K22. So K12 is what? K12 is rotation at B joint, that is KBA plus KBC. But in above diagram you can see clearly that there is no rotations, there is no any of the signs in the BA value. So that will be 0 here. So next only left with the KBA equals to 0, KBC. KBC is equal to 2 EI by LBC, 2 theta B plus theta C. We know that a rotation is applied at second coordinate point, theta C. So theta B is 0, only theta C will be the active person here. So theta B is taken as 0, left with 2 by 4 EI theta C. So 2 by 4 is nothing but 0.5 EI as the stiffness at first coordinate joint due to unit load applied at second joint, that is K12. Coming to the second stiffness, that is K22, we can see here K22 equals to KCB. KCB is equal to 2 EI divided by 4, that is span between BC, into 2 theta C plus theta B. Theta B will be 0 here because rotation is applied at C joint. So 2 into 2, 4, 4 by 4, it will be 1 EI. So 1 EI will be the stiffness at a second coordinate joint due to unit load applied at second joint, that is K22 equals to 1 EI. Once you know the stiffness values of at displacement joints, that is K11, K12, K21, K22, substitute in the form of matrix here. So applying a stiffness equation, that is K into delta is equal to P minus PL, K11, K12, K21, K22 in the matrix form, into delta 1, delta 2 is equal to P is equal to P1 and P2 minus, that is P1L minus P2L. Substituting all values, we get K11 equals to 2 here, K12 is 0.5, K21 is 0.5, K22 is 1 here. Substituting this in matrix form, the displacement, unknown displacement delta 1 and delta 2 are nothing but theta b and theta c. We know that is equal to p value we found due to an external moment given in the question itself, that is 30 minus 40 p2 value, and the pl value what we have found by the external moments we get is minus is there, plus 1.28 plus of 0 here, so minus is substituting here, we get minus 128 at B joint and 0 at C joint. So solving this equation in equation form, we can see rows into column, that is 2 into theta b, 0.5 into theta c, that is plus 0.5 into theta c is equal to 30 minus 128, that will be minus 98 the force. Second row is 0.5 into theta b, that is 0.5 theta b, plus 1 into theta c plus 1 theta c is equal to minus 40. So using calculators we can analyze the unknowns. There are two unknowns and there are two equations. So from this calculations we get theta b equals to minus 44.57 by EI. In the similar fashion, the rotation at C will be minus 17.714 by EI. So once we get the rotations at B and G, substitute these in the slope deflection equations and we can calculate the final end moments at individual joints. So the final moments are here. So first member AB and the final moments at A joint will be MAB equals to MFAB plus 2EI divided by LAB bracket of 2 theta A plus theta B. Since there is no deflections, the delta will be directly taken as 0 here. So substituting the values of this one, fixed end moment at A joint will be minus 128 plus 2E, I is 2 times the I divided by 8, that is span between AB, and theta A is 0. Since it is a fixed end, we could not get the value at theta A, so theta B, substituting value of theta B equals to minus 44.57. EI get cancels, 4 by 8 into minus 44.57 minus of 128. Adding all this, calculating with the calculators, the final moments at A joint for member AB we are getting is minus 150.2 kilonewton meter. Similarly, the final moments at a B joint for member BA will be same formulas, MFBA plus 2EI by LABA, 2 theta B plus theta A. Theta A is 0, substituting all values, that is 128 the fixed moment at B joint plus 2E, 2 times I divided by 8, 2 into minus 44.57. Substituting all this, 2 into 2 into 2, that is 8 by 8 EI by EI into minus 44 by 57, that is EI cancels. So 128 minus 44.57, we get 83.43 as a kilonewton meter at B joint for member BA. Similarly, considering member BC, that is B joint for member BC, that is MFBC plus 2 EI by LBC, 2 theta B plus theta C. So movement at B joint for member BC is 0. 2 EI divided by 4, that's span between BC. Theta B is 44.57, that is 2 times minus 44.57 into 2, and plus theta C is nothing but a minus 17.714. Substituting all values and external moment given as minus 30, that is clockwise on right hand side, it will be minus 30. Substituting this, we get MBC equals to minus 83.43 kilonewton meters. Coming over to last CB, 0 movements at the end span plus 2 EI by 4, 2 times theta C, that is minus 17.714 divided by EI minus 44.57 divided by EI, that is theta B. Substituting all this, plus 40 the anticlockwise movement at right hand side, in anticlockwise will be positive here, so plus 40, we get the final moments at C joint for member CB will be 0. So from knowing applying the joint equilibrium equation at B joint, that is the summation of moment members connecting at B joint should be 0. So member connecting at member B is BA and BC. So summation of moment at P will be moment of BA plus moment of BC equals to 0. So the MBA plus MBC equals should be 0. So here it is 83.43 minus 83.43 equals to 0. So the equation satisfies the conditions, hence the calculations of our moments are correct. So from this we can draw the bending moment diagram here. Here you can see the bending moment diagram. The moments, the final moment at A point is minus 150. So at the A joint, when we draw anti-clockwise, it comes to in upward direction. So minus 150 shown here in that J joint. B joint, we have a moment of 83.4 and at C it is 0. So join all the lines, that is 150 at A point, at B it is 83 and at C it is 0. We are joining it, and the bending moment at the midspan of the member for AB will be given for external loads, that is UDL is given. So that formula will be WL square by 8. So W is 24, L is 8, WL square by 8 will become 192 kilonewton meter, which will be in a parabolic portion. We can see we have drawn a parabolic curve at A to B. 192 is a midspan moment in between AB. So whenever we design the beam for midspan, we take the moment as 192. At end span, we take it as 150 at A joint. When we design at B joint, it will be 83. This is how the bending moment diagram is drawn and how it is used in the design purpose. Next, coming to calculations of shear force diagram. So when we calculate the shear force diagram, make sure that the final moments, whatever we have calculated, should be taken into account. So splitting individual beams as a simply supported beam and applying the external loads as well as the calculation the moments at the end span, substitute them, find the reaction. Those reaction itself will be the shear force for the joints. So we are splitting the members AB and BC separately, and you know that AB is subjected to the span of 8 meter with the 24 kilonewton meter, and end moments what we have calculated in just earlier steps we should substitute. At A it is minus 150, so it is a anti-clockwise direction. At B it is positive 83.4, that is shown in the clockwise direction. For member BC, we have only one moment anti-clockwise at B joint, which is shown in 83.4. At AC it is 0 and span is 4 meters. So finding the reaction at this point, at taking summation of vertical moment at AB will be 0. That is reaction at A as well as reaction at B equals to the vertical downward moment is 24 into 8 is equal to 192. That is RA plus RB equals to 192. And taking moment at any of the joint A equals to 0, we can see the rotation moment will be 150 minus anti-clockwise, so minus 150 plus 83.4, that is clockwise moment at B joint, plus 24 into 8 into 8 by 2, that is 24 into 8 square by 2, minus reaction at B, RB into 8, which is in anti-clockwise. So substituting all values, we get the reaction at B joint will be 87.675, which is a positive one moving upward. Once you know the reaction at B joint as 87.67, substitute this in the above equations, we get the reaction at A joint will be 192 minus of 87.67, that will be 104.32 kilonewton acting upward. Similarly, the second member BC, we can see the vertical forces are RB plus RC. The no vertical forces in the downwards, that will be 0 here. So taking moment at C equals to 0, we know that only one moment 83.4, which is acting in anti-clockwise direction. So minus 83.4, and again reaction at B will be RC into 4, which is also in the same direction. Therefore, the reaction at C point will be RC is equal to minus 83.4 divided by 4. We get minus 20.85. That minus 24.5 indicates that the reaction at A joint is moving downward. And similarly, substituting this value in the above equation, that's RB minus 20.85 equals to 0. Therefore, RB equals to plus 20.85. That indicates it is moving in the upward direction. Once you know the reactions at A, B and C, we can see we have drawn the shear force diagram here. At A joint, draw datum line ABC. At A joint, we know that a load of 104 is moving upward. We have shown it. A straight line is drawn up to 104.3. From there, we can see up to B joint, UDL is dropped down 24 into 8, that is minus 192. So since it is gradually decreasing, we can see the line coming gradually downwards towards B joint, and 104.3 minus 192 we get minus 87.67. So at B joint minus 87 will be at the downward of B datum line. So join that line, we get a straight line like this. Again at B joint, for reaction at B will be 87.67, that will come and meet the datum line at B joint, it becomes 0. And this is for member AB, and member for CBC, the reaction at B is plus 20.87, which is taken into upward plus 20.87. From B to C there is no loads, nothing load is given, so it moves in the parallel straight line, comes joins at C joint. At C joint there is a drop of 20.85, so we have seen that it comes and meet at C joint. This is how we have drawn the shear force diagram also. So it is very clear that we have drawn a shear force diagram, and we have drawn a bending moment diagram here. So from this it's very clear that the analysis is very easy if you go by step analysis, and make sure that while calculating the values we are taking values in a proper manner. So next comes is the Boome's taxonomy levels. So here in diagram we can see that today we understood the concept what that if any external loads given at a displacement point, that should be taken account in the value of P here. So it will be substituted in the P minus PL value, and we can get the values. So we have understood the concept, and we have applied it in analysis of a continuous beam. So the third level is also substituted here, that we have applied it in analysis, and we have done the analysis of beams in the level 4. So in this class we are going to learn from level 2 to level 4, where we understood some concept, we applied it in the analysis, and we analyzed the beam, and we have drawn the SFD BMD. Hope today's class was clear for you and you understood the concept clearly. Make sure that whenever a question is given, read the question properly and see what are the unknowns here and how it should be analyzed. So I think this is very clear for you. Thank you for your patience listening and completing the class. Thank you.